In this video, we'll be talking about two approaches to development that make testing a core part of their approach: test-driven and behavior-driven development. Test-driven development is a style of programming that is, just as its name implies, driven by the testing aspect. So initially, we're going to start by thinking about what tests do I need to write, assuming that my code is going to fulfill all the requirements. The activities involved in test-driven development are: we start by writing a single unit test for the function we're about to build. Next, we're going to run the test. Obviously, since we haven't written any code yet, that test is going to fail. Next, we're going to write code to pass the test. We're going to run the tests again, and then continuously refactor our code as we go through this cycle over and over again until our code is passing all of the tests and until the code is optimized. Test-driven development is an approach where we think about how can I fulfill requirements before jumping into writing code. Some of the potential pitfalls around test-driven development are too many tests being written at once. So if we try to think about all of the functionality we're trying to build and write all of the tests that we can think of all at the same time, we may be writing too many tests and trying to approach and solve too many problems at the same time. It's best to focus on one function that you're trying to build at a time, write a single test first for it, and then make that test pass and then write the next test, etc. Another potential pitfall is writing tests that are too large and that try to test too many pieces and subsets of functionality. Another potential pitfall is writing tests that are too trivial and too easy to make the test succeed by writing very simple code. These tests aren't really going to get at the meat of what we're trying to solve or fulfill in terms of requirements. Another pitfall is more cultural, and it's only partial adoption of the test-driven development approach by teams. When we have partial adoption, then we have some level of disconnect amongst the team members when they have different approaches. Another potential pitfall is poor maintenance of the code. So if we're writing tests that are sometimes failing and then sometimes succeeding, and we don't go back and refactor our code, then we're not going to have very clean code across the board. We need to make sure that we're refactoring and cleaning up our code and maintaining the code. And then finally, when we have seldom used test suites. So sometimes we may write tests for our code and then not actually use them in the automated test suite process later on. Those tests should either be verified for elimination, whether do we actually need those tests anymore, or we may go on and actually optimize them or write them in a way that ensures that we use them moving forward.